On this picture today, and it's absolutely hilarious. Here's all Justin's voters. Remember all those women? I think they did a poll and it was 60% mentioned his hair when they're talking about voting for Justin. Look at them all. They all look just they look like hell warmed over there, especially this one. They want nothing to do with this guy. But I come to talk about this. This is an old article, Viruses Don't Carry Passports, Why Travel bans won't work to stop the spread of COVID-19. Mina Zafar, CBC News, posted March 13th, 2020. March 13th, 2020. Okay, this is back when Trump said all the racist and blah, blah, blah. U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to restrict travel from most European countries to try and contain what he called the foreign virus, I think he had another word for it, isn't grounded in science and breaks international law, experts say. Okay, first off, there's no more international law. They call it a rules-based order so that they get to move the goalposts so much that the goalposts get tired of getting moved. Okay, breaks international law, experts say. So keep that in mind. Now we go to Canada on March 16th, 2020, 3 days later. Kathleen Harris, CBC News. Okay, and it's Canada bar entry to travelers who are not. So we close the borders, right? Just like Trump did. Except this time, it's not breaking international law and it's not racism. And then look at this, what it says. It says Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced. So it was his decision. There was a lot of pressure on him to close the borders. But here's what I'm getting at. Notice how it's Canada closed the borders when it was actually it was Trump that closed the U.S. borders, but it was Canada that closed our borders. They always divert. The CBC covers for him. It's just ridiculous. So when Justin does something like this, it's always the Fed, the government, Ottawa. They always try and wrap the other parties up in it when it was his decision to close the border. It's as simple as that. But all of a sudden it's Canada. But what I'm talking about now is I'm talking about this election meddling. That picture, he's trying to explain away all the government meddling, right? Trudeau picks former Governor General David Johnston to probe election meddling claims, right? Claims. It's not claims. CISA said it happened. It happened. And here, Johnson was appointed Governor General. If the CBC had been fair, they would have said Johnson is an old family friend of the Trudeaus, ran the Trudeau Foundation, and Justin Trudeau went on ski trips with his family and stayed in their house, blah, blah, blah. But this is a family friend that's investigating. Like, the government's not going to find themselves guilty again. So Johnson was appointed by Harper, and look, they got to make sure you see it. Johnson was approved by Minister Stephen Harper. Again, they got to make sure. But here's the interesting part, is Trudeau said that the rapporteur could recommend a formal could recommend it's going to be formal no matter what. He just wants to hide everything. Public inquiry. So he admits he's got the power to do whatever. All Canadians, if this is a democracy, they admitted he's got the power to have a public. Why not just go for broke and have an inquiry, right? Or is that racism? And I want to show you something about racism. So this is what happened last time we ran into banking troubles, was 2008, 2009. And what happened is Occupy Wall Street was right here, September 2011. And that's when all the elites right here had all their papers, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, Wall Street Journal, all start talking about racism. So there was nothing. And just because the economy collapsed, they changed. So they got to do something. It's either going to be a war or something. These people laugh when they take our money. They collapse the system, and now they want CBDCs so they can control all of us and seize our accounts whenever they like. This is hubris. Look at flinging her hair in everyone's face. She just thinks she's a goddess. Here's the American dollar. It was worth $1. Now it's not even worth 3 cents. From the 1900s, before the Fed got involved, it was worth more than $1. Here's the banks. Credit Suisse, back in 2007, before the collapse. There's the collapse. There it is. It was $76 at its peak, $76.63, and now this week it went down. It was about almost $4 6 months ago, and here it is tanking. And there it was last night. It lost 52% of its value. The banks are collapsing. Do you get the feeling that we are in a lot of trouble? We don't need this man. Singh's got to just dump him. Enough.